Welcome to the Children's Tent. My name is David Palumbo-Liu, and I'm one of the organizers of Palestine Writes. And it's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Koloud Tarapolsi moved to America with her family when she was 7 years old from Libya and got to know her adopted land by traveling to all 50 states, which is more than I have, including Puerto Rico. She received her bachelor's degree from Oklahoma State University, her master's degree from the University of Washington's Jackson School of International Studies, and museology certification from the Burke Museum. She began her love of sharing art by being trained with the Seattle Art Museum as an art docent 25 years ago, and has expanded on that to work as an art docent, as an artist in residence in various schools and summer camps in the Pacific Northwest. Koloud is regularly active in her community, having been appointed twice as an arts commissioner for the city of Redmond by the mayor, and having served twice as board director of the Arab Art Center, the Arab Center in Washington. She began introducing Arab tales to children as a storyteller at local libraries and festivals about 8 years ago. Last March, she opened up a pop-up, letters are BAME, which stands for Black, Asian, and Minority Ethnic bookstore that benefited a refugee nonprofit organization. She also founded a Crafty Arab, that's one all run together.com, so a craftyarab.com in 2008. And it's a blog of fun, free educational crafts, downloads, book lists, and recipes for children and their caregivers. Her crafts can also be found on Multicultural Kid blog, and she's excited to be asked to co-host the Multicultural Children's Book Day once again. Her company also sells a line of educational products for teaching Arabic, including an alphabet poster, a color poster, game cards, magnets, and a coloring book. And her line can be found online on Zipit, Teachers Pay Teachers, Amazon, and it can also be found at the Smithsonian African Art Museum and the Jerusalem Fund in Washington, D.C. So she's going to take us through some really interesting exercises for about 40 minutes. Please use the chat if you want to make comments, and we will leave some time at the end for questions. But right now, I'll just hand it over to Koloud.
Marhaba, everybody. I'm so excited to see you. Look at all these lovely faces and all the people that are here. I'm very excited to be part of Palestine Writes. Thank you so much for asking me to participate. And first, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on sacred land here in Seattle, Washington. Beautiful sunny day today. So just putting that acknowledgement out there to thank everybody also for coming out and joining us. I'm going to go through some really fun tutorial today on how to jazz up your wrapping paper. I know it's getting ready to be wrapping time for a number of you, or you could have a birthday, somebody's birthday, or some other reason to send somebody a gift. And why not make it personal? Why not send a little extra time? I understand the gift inside is lovely, but why not spend a little extra time to make the outside of it really stand out? A few years ago, a number of years ago, a friend of mine gave me a beautiful painting, and he took craft paper and he put it around the painting, and then he painted the craft paper. I was blown away. I was like, oh, this is such a great idea. I love that there was art inside and that there was art outside. So, of course, I took his beautiful painting and I put it in a frame and I put it up. And then I took his wrapping paper and I put it in a frame and I also put it up. And he came over to visit one time and he's like, that's my wrapping paper. And I was like, it was so beautiful and I just couldn't resist. So you can make art anywhere, including the outside of packages to send somebody. So I have a couple of things that I wrapped just to kind of show you some ideas of what we can do with them. This is a little box, and then I also have a little book. We're going to go through the exercise of decorating it. I want to mention, if you guys have questions, just raise your hand. We have fantastic moderators today, and they will definitely let me know if you have any questions. I'm going too fast because I know I get a little talky sometimes and I start going, and you can tell me to slow down a little bit. So definitely, this is on my blog. David was kind enough to mention it earlier, craftyarab.com. This is one of the tutorials. I have a number of tutorials on the Arabic initials and how to decorate with initials, just to kind of pull out just a few other ones super quickly to give you some ideas. This is a little, I'm gonna hold it up here and then I'll bring it a little closer. A little decoration for your door. It's all covered in roses and it's the letter wow. How cute is that? And then the little tiny shelf decoration you can have of the letter Z. And this is really cute because this is actually made out of cereal boxes. Now, if you follow my blog, you will know that I love using recycled materials and anything that has anything to do with looking around your house and seeing if you can make art of things around you. Not necessarily having to go to the store. Maybe you have to go to the store for some supplies, but all I had to really do was buy the paint to make it all nice and shiny because I love this paint. But the cereal box and the tape was stuff I had at home. So you can do stuff like this at home to make your own art. And just to show you also, again, with the wow, it's also out of cardboard. So you can see it's just decorated cardboard. So things that we love to do on the blog is, this is the craft we're going to be working on today, is this is a book, a friend of mine, I was making it for them, that bought them their favorite book. And then their letter started, their alphabet, their name started with the letter Ha. So I thought, how fun would it be to make this little wrapping paper with their letter on it, so it would really kind of stand out. And looking around the house again, so maybe I don't really want to go out and buy a stamp. Well, you can make a stamp almost out of anything if you look around and see if you can try. I thought I would try pencils because the ends of pencils have fantastic erasers and they make really wonderful stamp. They absorb the ink and then you can reuse them again and again. And then after you're done, just wipe off, on a piece of paper, the ink and still use your pencil. I found these fantastic pencils at my local stationery shop. I have to show them to you guys because look, they have palm trees. Sorry if you can't see them. See the palm trees? Let me see if I can hold up one because I already opened it because I was so excited. And I have a few palm tree activities. Oh, I keep taking it off the camera. There it is. I have a few palm tree activities, so it was perfect. I'm like, oh, I can use this pencil for so many other things too. So we're going to use a pencil. So that is definitely one of the things you'll need. Try to find some wrapping paper that is a solid color. I know I showed you the white that we're going to be working on, and the sample that I have from the tutorial is white paper also. But I thought today we could also try experimenting with blue to try to kind of see what that is with a different color stamp. So just make sure it's solid so that you can play around with creating your own artwork, kind of like a blank canvas. Just to show you guys, here's what the blue will look like, and we're going to work on that one. Can't figure out, there it is. We're going to work on this one second. So try out some different patterns. So we need some wrapping paper. Let's go through the supply list here. So we need a pencil, we need double-sided tape, but just a tiny, tiny bit because we just want to glue our letter on there. Scissors for sure to cut out our letters, and also you might have had to use it if you wrapped your gift. A Sharpie, the Sharpie helps do straight edges so you know where to cut. Ink stamps. I actually got a couple of different ones because I thought we could try different colors. I've got orange, blue, cobblestone. That sounds interesting. And green. So just thought we would try out different ones. You can also try out black. If you have black at home and that's the color that works, try out black. You'll need an Xacto. Now, this definitely is a tool that you will use with adult supervision, please. They are very sharp. You do want to definitely try to make sure you keep your Xacto sharp, because this is how accidents happen. The blade gets dull, and if you push on it, and you might be pushing in the wrong direction or anything. So that's one way to avoid accidents. Another is to always make sure you have an adult with you when you use an Xacto, because it's a very, very dangerous tool if you don't use it in the correct way. If you use it in a correct way, this is one of my favorite tools, because you can use this to cut almost anything. Earlier today, I cut out a stencil, which is plastic, and I used an Xacto for it. So you don't have to just use out. We're going to be using the Xacto on the pencil to cut out the eraser. So you can use it on paper, you can use it on eraser, you can use it on plastic. But please, one more time, adult supervision. So we'll need an Xacto. And I think that is all of our tools that I pointed out. I'm going to set my Xacto blade pointing out away from me just in case it rolls. It's always a good idea. So what I love, while we grab the paper here, about the Arabic language is that it's spoken by so many people. I don't know if you guys know this, but like 220 million people speak Arabic. And it's one of the 5 official languages of the United Nations, which is kind of cool because they don't have that many. I mean, 5 languages is not that many. For Arabic to be one of them tells you that it's popularity. So 22 countries in the Arab world and outside of it speak Arabic as an official language. So it's a fun language to learn, which is why I created the poster. And as David mentioned, I did these fun little game cards that have the language in them. And recently I did a coloring book that people can get. It opens the correct way. And inside of it, of course, are the letters, along with a teacher's guide that explains in the back, that explains all the letters. So kind of a fun way for kids to learn Arabic. So using Arabic is really fun. Even if you have an English friend, you can figure out the letter that they have in Arabic. So for example, this particular gift I'm actually giving to my friend Karen. So I had to, if I looked at my Arabic alphabet, I would see that her name actually starts with a A, with a kaf. I'm going to take, I already pre-printed it. I just found this online, a little bit of a letter, sized it to the size of my wrapping paper. And I want to make sure that I get all these little tiny cuts and grooves in it. So as you can see, Arabic has, the letters have these little tiny corners and stuff, all these little fun divots. So you want to get all of them in there. What's interesting about Arabic, there are 22 letters, but some of the letters are written in different ways. And some of them are not. They're only written in 1 or 2 ways. So it's kind of a fun little puzzle to figure out which letters, once they're attached to other letters, how they change. And then once you figure it out, it's such an amazing language to learn, to speak, to open doors of jobs in all kinds of, obviously 22 countries that I just mentioned, but so many other ones where Arabic would open your job door for you, opportunities. And knowing which letters of the alphabet stay the same and come attached is just one of the puzzle, because some letters, like the letter Kaf that I just mentioned, actually has an attachment to it, similar to the Alif, which is also one of the first letters. So we'll cut that out also. And some of the letters that you'll see, for example, the one that I did as part of my sample here, change depending on if you have a dot attached to it. So some of the letters has a dot on top. Some of the letters have a dot underneath. And I always thought it was interesting when I came to America that I found the letter I. Like, oh, there's one letter with a dot on it. It must be Arabic. And I always thought it was so funny that the letter I had the little tiny dot on it. But it didn't go on. Is there another letter that has an letter? I don't know. It just always cracked me up as a kid that the letter I always felt the letter I was a little bit, had a little bit of Arabic roots. Speaking of Arabic roots, there are a lot of words that use Arabic. Really fun one that not a lot of people might like is algebra, and sailor, general, sultan. So many different words, English words, had their origin in Arabic. And actually, in fact, I'll put my letter here. If you go on my website, I do have a fun little crossword puzzle that has, sorry, I'm going to try to keep it as straight as I can. The English words that originated from Arabic words. So you kind of go through the puzzle. I guess it's hard math, and I already gave you that one, algebra. Go through some of the words that are in here that actually got their start from Arabic words. Another huge place that you'll find a lot of Arabic words are the stars. Astronomy was really, really big back in the days of the great knowledge. And so a lot of the stars that we have now have Arabic names. And that just fascinated me because when I was taking astronomy in college, I could actually pronounce the stars' names. They weren't in the hard Latin that was always giving me tongue ties, but they were in Arabic, so I understood it. So you'll find Arabic, a lot of stars. You'll find it medical terms also, because medicine was another big area that there was a lot of discoveries in the Arab world before it traveled elsewhere. So you'll find Arabic in so many different places. So here's my letter cut out as I was talking to you guys. I was cutting it out. So cute. So now this is kind of a tricky part. You have to put tape on the back of it. Put my instructions aside here. But you don't want to use very much. And this has become really hard because I know it's, you really want to use a lot of tape to stick it down, but you don't have to use very much. In fact, you can see I barely cut out a piece, and I might even cut this one in half. See, it's like, can you even see it? If I hold it, maybe if I hold it up against my hair, you can see a tiny little bit. And then I'll cut it, a little strip of it. Because the goal is I just want to hold my letter down to my wrapping paper to hold it. But if I use too much, later when I try to pull it out, the letter will stick, and then it'll cause me a little bit of a damage, which is okay, because to be honest with you, I always feel like there are no mistakes in art. It's the one field that you can pretty much do lots and lots and lots of experimenting. So if you come up and your letter is torn, maybe paint the inside of the letter. Try it that way. So you can see my tiny piece of tape I actually cut down. Let me see if I can get this one last piece on my, oh, it fits, perfect. Okay, so I can see my tape here, very, very tiny. See if I can get a shine on it. Little tiny pieces, okay? So now I'm gonna center my letter. Very nice. And just gently tap it, just to hold, but not to really kind of stick. So here's my cap. Isn't that cute? Actually, you can almost, if you wanted to, you can glue this down and give it to the person. You know, if this is what you wanted to do, that was fine. You're the artist. You can decide to do whatever you'd like. I'm going to keep going. So now I have this done. I'm going to set it aside for just 1 second so so I can work on my palm tree. I'm so excited. Okay, so here's my palm tree. I'm going to grab my, before my Xacto, I'm going to grab my Sharpie. So this is where you get to decide what shape you want to have your eraser. In the tutorial on my blog, I just did a square because it's the easiest thing to cut. I would really recommend starting with a square. If you do a few of these and you become a professional stamp eraser maker, which could be a thing, maybe you do other shapes. Maybe you keep it a circle if you didn't want to cut it all. That could happen. Or you could do, if you wanted to do other shapes like I mentioned, you can do a heart, you can do maybe a triangle, all kinds of different things on there. So I'm going to do a square by just taking my Sharpie and just creating the square in the eraser. I don't know if you can see that here. Get it as close as I can. There you go. Can you see that? Let me look that way. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to do backwards, you guys. Okay, so this just helps me know where to cut. All right, so now I'm done with my Sharpie. I'll set that aside. Or you can use a pen if that helps you. I just like the tip of the Sharpie because it's kind of thick and you can see it. So now we grab our Xacto, and what did I say? Adult supervision. Make sure you have an adult around you at all times, helping you figure out how to hold it and how to apply pressure. If you wanted to, before you even try this craft, you can even try it on a different craft or just get some paper. Make sure you have a protective plastic underneath it and try cutting the paper first or try cutting something else. But for today's purposes, we're going to just go ahead and use the Xacto on the eraser. And I'm going to cut where the red Sharpie was. And I purposely used red so you can see it, but you can also use black if that's what you have. Again, huge fan of looking around your house, especially now with COVID. You don't need to be traveling out and outside, and I'm pretty sure you can find a pencil in your house that has a brand new eraser that you can turn into a stamp, and ask a parent if they had a Sharpie that you can use and do this. Try this yourself. And a stamp box. So putting my Xacto aside because I'm all done with that. So here's my fun little shape, my fun little square. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's a little hard to point at the camera. Okay. So now I get to decide on color. You don't have to do one color. This stamp I did with the gold, which turned out really kind of lovely, and it has a nice little shimmering look to it. But you can also do more than one color. So, but I think right now for today's purpose, I really wanted to try this green because I just thought that was so pretty. And I saw it, and it's called Fern. Fern green. What a lovely color. Okay, so now I'm going to hold it up here. You can leave yours flat while you're working because it's probably easier for you to stamp, but I'm just holding mine up so you can see it. But you don't have to hold yours up, okay, when you're doing this. So what you want to do, make sure you guys can see this, is you're going to take your eraser and you're going to put it in your stamp. And we are going to first start out by outlining the letter, okay? So I'm just going to put my stamp down so I can hold two things at once. It's a little hard to be holding three things at once. And you can see, ooh, this stamp has a little bit of red in it probably from a previous job. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. Okay, so I just kind of went a little bit around the bottom there and a little bit going up. And you want it to be really very close to each other, right around the letter, okay? When we go out, when we radiate out, we'll do less of the stamping. But when we start, we want to be able to see the letter. And so we're just going to, and honestly, I love doing these. Sorry for the noise from my sleeve. Let me roll it up here for my today's dress. I love doing these so many at a time because it's just therapeutic to just sit in a chair and just, it's just so much fun. So not something that could be really purchased. This little handmade personalized wrapping paper. So if you're going to create something, have a little fun with it. If you're not having fun, there's no point in doing it, right? So we're going to go around all of the letter. I'm not going to worry about getting the ink off my stamp now. I just wanted to outline it first to show you guys. If you want to, you can actually hold it, the letter itself. Sorry, I put it down. I realized I wasn't showing you guys what I was doing. Let me try this again. Okay, so I've gone around my whole letter. I'm going to just put it down with my finger. I'm going to hold it down and just go around, just really make sure that my letter can be seen. Now, you can, if you wanted to, just lift it up a tiny bit so you can see the outline. You guys see it? The outline of my ink. Okay. But of course, I want to go further. So now, when I go away from the letter, I'm going to be putting less dots. So I'm just going to expand them out. And just go around the whole thing. Just put down a few. And rotate your pencil also, because sometimes the ink will well up in certain areas of the eraser. And so if you go in a certain pattern and you create that one singular thing, it'll look like almost like a line. So try to rotate your pencil eraser so that then there's a little bit of variety. And don't worry about making all the ink come out of your eraser onto the paper, because it actually looks kind of cool when some parts of it are not as inked up. So this is kind of what it looks like with the outline and just a few of the letters there, okay? But I really kind of want to make it look like it's radiating, like the letter is just kind of is the only white spot and really, really coming out. So I'm going to go back here with my pen. And I'm just going to add a few more that are closer to the letter and just kind of radiate out from around it, and not do any more around the outside of the wrapping. And then the space in between, just go ahead and fill that up too. If you do, or you have it, your letter has any dots or anything, so that it looks like the whole letter is complete. It's one entire cohesive piece rather than two letters next to each other. The dots and the hamzas are part of the letter, and that's vital to how you pronounce the letters in some cases. The letters themselves, it's interesting. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the Arabic language actually, almost every single word has the root of 3 letters. So Arabic dictionaries when you look up a word, you can't just look up, you know, elephant. You would need to figure out what the root of the word elephant is, the 3 letters that make up that word, and then that's how you would look it up in the dictionary. I know it sounds a little complicated and it's a little much to take on, but this is also part of the puzzle. Once you figure out the root of the word, it makes it so much easier to understand all these other words that have the same root, that have the same 3 letters. So it opens up all these other doors once you figure out this puzzle. So Arabic is just all these little tiny puzzles. And once you fit it all together, it's like, wow, what a beautiful language with poetry and calligraphy and all these gorgeous, gorgeous ways to express it. And of course, it went on, you know, with the help of Persian and Urdu, because they're all connected. They're all in the same area, using the same script to influence so many other parts of the world. So here's what we have a little bit closer, a little bit more dots in the middle, around the piece, a little bit more sparingly around the outside. Now, here again, you get to decide, because you're the artist. Is this it? Are you finished? Is this all that you're going to do? Or you can remember that there's canvases on the side. Of course, I'm one to never leave a spot unpainted. So why not add a few dots on the side and make it go around? Just adding a little fun to the whole thing so that there's continuation of it. The neighbors are all out enjoying the sunshine today. It's, as I said, it's a beautiful blue sky day in Seattle. Alhamdulillah, we have a nice, gorgeous sunshine. Okay, see? So now we just added a few around the edges there, just to kind of continue. So this part is probably just as important as all this work that you just did. As an artist, you have to sign your work, okay? Now, some people are like, it's just wrapping paper. No, this is not wrapping paper. This is your gorgeous, beautiful creation, and you are going to get credit for it, and you're going to take credit for it. This is what artists do, and this is the first step to becoming a professional artist. So you're going to flip it over. If you want to paint the back, feel free. I'm just going to leave mine blank, but you're going to flip it over, and you're going to take a pen, and you're going to sign it. Okay, so I'm going to sign mine. Okay, and then you're going to date it. You don't have to put today's date, just the year. Okay, so you can just put 2020. And then this is a really fun part. There's a little tiny symbol in the English language. It's a little C with a circle around it. That means copyright. And you're going to include that also. So this is what your gorgeous artwork is going to look like after you make sure to sign it. So you're going to have your name, and then underneath it, the little C with the circle, 2020. Make sure you sign your work. I took an artist class one time in college, and the teacher taught me that. Said never, ever do anything without signing it, because it is important to remember first when you did it, because later on you might be making more other fun stuff, and you'll look back and say, oh, I did that in 2020, but since then I moved on to do so many more exciting things. So it's kind of cool to see back what you did. And second, it lets people know if somebody sees this on the table and they're like, if you're at a party, when we get back to parties, and they see this at the table and everybody's outside, and they're like, oh, that's who made it. I'm going to go find them and ask them how they did it, because it's got your signature. So now we have our signature. We've got our sides all painted. We are going to take off the letter to see what it looks like. So gently, because of the double-sided tape. You don't want to yank it off because sometimes it'll tear. So be very gentle. Here's another trick I learned too. Glue does not like heat. So if you do have a tiny, tiny little spot that is maybe holding on, just kind of breathe on it. A little bit of hot air, most of us have it, will go on, and then it'll take it off a little bit. Perfect. And there's my letter, my Hamza, and there's my cat. And there's my letter. There's my wrapping gift. How cool is that? Now, you can see, this is just the one that I showed you that we did here, but this one, I really went through and made sure my outline was a 100% view. So you can see, we didn't do it so much with the one we did, but you can still see the letter. But when you make this, make sure that you make it have a lot more stamps like this. So super quickly, I just wanted to show you this other cute little trick. Oh, my Depka dancers fell over. I have these really cute Depka dancers on my blog also that you can make out of clothespins that you do your laundry with. Look how cute these are. You can make little Depka dancers out of clothespins. If you join me the rest of the week, we're going to be making Depka dancers out of lunch boxes, lunch bags, and more fun Palestinian crafts. I wanted to show you guys this because it's one of my favorites. I love this piece. This is Shrinky Dink. So you have a little Palestine, a little flag, and of course, the key. Isn't that fun? More fun Palestinian tutorials that you can find. The t-shirt also, Palestine is in my heart. That is made out of freezer paper. Most of us have freezer paper in our kitchens if we look, or can find it in a grocery store aisle. So we have just a little bit more time. I wanted to show you guys one more. I'll try to work a little bit faster on this, because what you can do on top of having the shape that you're going to, having the letter that you're going to make to personalize. These scissors are super loud. You can print out shapes. So say it was a birthday party, you can do Eid Milad Saeed, or you can do have a birthday cake, but you can also do shapes. So you can put shapes like this in there. Now, what I would really strongly suggest that you do, just because I am a crafty Arab and I will always try to push the Arabic language, is that you still include a letter. So this box, a card, a book. I forgot what was in the wrapping paper. Box, card, book. It is a book, I promise. Is going to a friend of mine, daughter, whose name, his actual name is Layla. So I thought, Layla, how perfect would Layla be if she had a little star behind her name for Layl, which is the Arabic word for night. So I just cut out her letter here super quickly. A tiny bit of tape. And what we're going to do, and this is really super duper fun, is you put the letter, do the stamping. I'm going to use the same, no, actually, I'm going to try the cobblestone. On the blue, let's see if it comes out. Oh, not so much. Let's see if it will show. Oh, it's a little better. Okay. I'm going to go super quickly around the letter. You know, it would have been perfect. And I forgot to grab it. And it's actually right over there, but I'm not going to grab it right now. is silver. So what you're going to do is you're going to go around the letter like this. And I did the exact same thing, just super duper fast. And you see the paint, excuse me, the ink stamp on the letter. And then you're going to take that off and put the next shape on. In my case, it will be a star. You're going to let the ink dry. It's a little bit wet now, but right now it's a little bit shiny when I showed you guys in the camera. So you're going to let it dry and add a little bit more. You're going to take the next shape and you're going to put it on. And you're going to add a different color. And it's going to look so cool because the color inside the shape, the larger shape, is going to really stand out. Sorry, I don't have one to show you guys, but next time, maybe I'll put it on the blog. But just to give you an idea of other things that you can try to do to make your wrapping paper really stand out. Let's see, do we have any? I see David's coming back. Do we still have more time? Do we have any questions, or do my kids want to ask anything? Oh, I have another one. Hold on, I forgot. Sorry. I thought I was done, and then there was one more. There's always more crafts, you guys. Always. This is a super fun one. We're going to be doing a composition notebook craft later on Palestine landscape notebook. But I wanted to show you guys, this is just a regular composition notebook. And I took a piece of colored paper and I taped it on to the cover. And I'm not going to do it now. Oh, actually, maybe I'll take my mat. Or the star shape. That's perfect. Take the shape or letter that you cut out and personalize your notebook for school. Write your own name on it, or give it to, write your teacher's name, write the subject, give it to your BFF, whatever you want to do. I thought it would also be fun, not just to think of wrapping a gift, but also other things around your house that you can use this technique on.
So Koloud, this is wonderful. Maybe could you put your email address in the chat so that people could email you with any questions they might have?
Yes, of course. So it's my company name, A Crafty Arab, at gmail.com. So please, yes, email me, and I would love to talk to you guys more about Arabic or more about crafts. I'm doing a art installation right now where I'm writing over 200 Arabic kids' names on the piece. So I love talking about Arabic and of course children. So please do feel free to email me if you need to get a hold of anything. Thank you guys so much. This has been so much fun. I was super nervous because I wasn't sure how I was going to go, but it has been so much fun. I've had so much fun telling you guys how to make the wrapping paper, and hopefully, if I can put it, inspire you guys to make something beyond what I showed you. Please make sure that you, I'm on Facebook and Twitter, so make sure that you do share with me what you make, because I would love to see your creations, because I'm sure it's so much better than mine, because every artist is different. And I always self-doubt my work, but it's important to keep doing it. Even if you look at it and you're like, grab another one, try it again. Keep making art. Try to make art every day. Create art, make your world around you beautiful by looking at things that are around the house to make really fun ways to be creative. Put it where it can be seen.